Vinyl jitter. Okay, what in the hell is vinyl jitter? Well, our question comes from Kakpur in Västervik, Sweden. I'm sure I have butchered that, and you have my apologies. Hey, Paul, ever since I came into the audiophile hobby, I've seen many people talk about digital jitter and its impact on audio quality. I've also seen the same people say that vinyl is superior to digital for many reasons. But shouldn't vinyl have way higher jitter, i.e. wow and flutter, than any digital source? Turntables are, after all, a mechanical device. How could they possibly be as good as a precise digital device? Best regards, Kakpur. I think that's a lovely question and a really good one. Look, if we take an album, what do we got here? Bob Dylan, bringing it all back to home. All right, and we pull this album out of its jacket and we look at this thing. What do we see? Well, this is big, heavy vinyl, and we see a black 12-inch disc that has little grooves all over it. And a needle is going to go through here and wiggle, and that wiggle of the needle is going to generate a magnetic field because there's a magnet at the end of the needle, or a coil, and surrounded by magnets, moving coil, moving magnet, and that's going to convert to an electrical signal. This is not a whole lot different than the original Edison cylinders that had the same wiggles, the same principles. The big difference was in the Edison model, of course, there was no electronics. They didn't have electronics back then. That was way before electronics. So those sounds, the wiggles, merely vibrated a mechanical plate, and you amplified it with a horn. And that's how we got sound out of vinyl in the first place. But today we have fancy schmancy systems like this. This is a clear audio turntable that we're looking at, and I've got $7,000 in the arm and the table, and it's a beautiful machine. I mean, look at the size of this platter. This, for those of our podcast, we're looking at, I'm not very good with 3.5, 4 inches thick plexiglass platter, all machined. It's a gorgeous piece of kit. But if we were to measure the wow and the flutter to the extent that we do jitter being measured in the millionths of just way down in the parts per million, this thing is a joke. Seriously. I mean, the wow and flutter of this thing, you've got a rubber band that's driving the whole thing. It is purely mechanical. Everything to do about it is mechanical, and we cannot compare the accuracy and the precision of digital audio to what we have in analog. But that said, I'm not sure the two are relative, that we can actually legitimately relate the two, because they are so very different. This CD player that you see here and this DAC that you see here, they're such different technologies. Each of these, for years, struggled to sound as good as vinyl. It was, decades and decades, vinyl sounded better than digital. It wasn't until the late 1990s, and actually probably more into the mid-2000s, where finally the promise of digital audio surpassed that of vinyl. If you come here, you'll hear it. But most people still don't believe in that, because vinyl is just a different experience. I can go into how much more distortion, how much lower dynamic range, the noise, the wow, the flutter, everything. And we could compare it to this, but we know from past experiences that Even though the original CDs far outstripped from a performance or a specification standpoint vinyl, they sucked. So measurements, traditional measurements in particular, don't tell us all that we need to know about how something is going to sound. And that's the key to that. So vinyl is still an excellent medium. And so too is digital. But I don't think we can compare the two apples to apples. Thanks for the question, and thank you for listening. I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.